So let's start with this color wheel as a base and talk about how various people have invented color systems. One of those people, Dr. Albert Munsell, invented a Munsell color model. This was an early attempt of what he was trying to do. And basically you can see that it looks sort of like a globe, and as you spun the globe around, you would see the various colors associated with the color wheel that we were just looking at. Going from the south pole of this globe to the north pole, however, the darkness of the colors would be changing. So the darkness is changing from the north pole to the south pole, and going from the surface of the sphere in towards the center of the sphere, the pureness or the chroma of the color would be changing towards white. So that all of these variations are taking place. But what Munsell noticed was that even though this is a very mathematical model of how colors can be organized, it wasn't very perceptual. Some of these differences in chroma and darkness were hard to see, while others were easy to see. So what Munsell did then was he took that globe and he kind of distorted it into this odd-shaped three-dimensional object that we're seeing a cutaway of here. So that each of these steps here now, for example, on the right-hand side of this slide, we're looking at yellow, and we're going from a light whitish yellow all the way to a more pure yellow, between yellow and orange. And we can see how those colors are varying. They're perceptually equal in their differences. All of those squares are perceptually equal. So people can tell the difference between those, whereas if we still had it as a sphere, people might not be able to tell the difference between those colors. So it's a perceptually based color system, starts with the color wheel, goes from dark to light, going up the central axis, and goes to a more pure chroma or a more pure color or hue or color of the rainbow, moving from the central axis out towards the edge of this color model. This kind of shows more of a three-dimensional look of the model, but we can see all the colors near the top in the middle are light pure colors like pink and light blue. As we move down the central axis, we go from white to black, and all the colors near the bottom are dark, such as that dark red to a slightly less dark red as we move out towards the edge. So colors or hue is varying around the circle. The chroma, or the intensity or the pureness of the color, is varying from the center axis out to the edge, and the darkness is varying from the bottom up towards the top. This is once again sort of a cutaway of this model, and we can see how it has a very irregular shape because it's not trying to be mathematical about how these colors are changing, but it's trying to be perceptual. It's trying to say what difference between these very subtle changes in colors can people see, and how can we build a model that matches that. And of course we could just look at each one of these as an individual slide. And one thing to note here is that for the hues that are already pretty light, like yellow or cyan, which is that light blue, we can see that those tend to have more steps as we get towards the top, because they're lighter to begin with. Whereas the darker ones, like the reds and the purples, those tend to be shifted down further towards black as far as how many progressive steps you can see in the Munsell color model. So this is a perceptually based way that we can look at color and look at how small of a step we can take while changing the color and still have it be perceived by people as a different color.